I met my neighbors the day after I moved in, as I was walking around the neighborhood to get a feel of my surroundings. They invited me into their home, and they seemed like nice folks, maybe a little reserved. Jim, the husband, was in his mid-40s and seemed to be a bit of a working man. He was wearing work jeans with white and red paint dried up on the front and a gray t-shirt. He talked about his building projects around the house and other, well, considerably boring things. His wife, Tessa, also in her 40s, was a sweet lady. She seemed genuinely interested in what her husband was talking about. I smiled and responded, but I honestly couldn't wait to get out of there. I let them know I had to get going and went on my way. They made me a little uneasy with how self-involved they all were. Over the past couple weeks, I noticed they had a few children over there too. 2 daughters, aged 6 to 14 maybe, and a 5-year-old son. They would splash around in the pool for hours each day. This didn't really bother me. I sometimes would peer out my window to see them out there having a grand old time in the water, while Jim and Tessa cooked on the grill. I guess they even had a maid that would help out around the house, but would also join them for their cookouts and summertime activities. I would peek out there just to see how much fun the family would be having. One evening, however, I wish I didn't look this time. I had been cleaning up the trash along my backyard fence, nothing but my back porch light piercing through the darkness of the night, when I heard a splash coming from Jim and Tessa's pool. Now, this wouldn't have been surprising had it not been pitch dark and after 9 o'clock at night. I froze in place, eyes glaring at my fence, intently listening for another sound. I couldn't see anything through the cracks in my fence, but I could hear more loud splashes every couple of moments. It almost sounded like heavy objects being thrown into the water. I closed my trash can lids and ran upstairs to my room so I could take a look from a better angle, out from my bedroom window. After adjusting my eyes a little bit, I was finally able to make out what the splashing sounds were. Jim was outside, along with Tessa and their oldest daughter, and they were tossing trash bags into their pool. I was obviously confused by this peculiar activity. I mean, who puts their trash in their pool? They swim in there every day. Upon closer inspection, I noticed that there was some strange red substance pouring out from under one of the bags as well. It swirled up ominously around the plastic, through the water, almost like blood. My mind and heart refused to believe it could be blood, though. They must be teaching their child some kind of science experiment with food coloring, right? I continued watching as the 3 of them descended into their pool from the steps. They were fully clothed and smiling eerily as they made their way towards the red food coloring. Jim reached out and grabbed one of the trash bags and gestured to Tessa to grab another one. What the hell? My heart began racing now. I wasn't sure why, but I was getting more and more uneasy as I observed their peculiar night swim from my bedroom window. Suddenly, Jim tore into the trash bag he had grabbed and dumped the contents into the pool in front of him. My eyes grew wide with terror as 2 bloody, mutilated legs and a torso hit the water, more red pouring into the pool. That's not food coloring, I said to myself in my mind, as if I wasn't already thinking it deep down before. Tessa followed, dumping more limbs into the water. The pool was beginning to look like red fruit juice at this point. My stomach was churning now. I could feel puke brewing in my gut as I viewed my neighbors basically bathing in the blood of these body parts. They were diving down and coming back up, throwing their heads back as they rose up from the water, running the blood through their hair. They were even splashing each other and laughing. Did they kill somebody? Was I really living next to some psychopaths who bathe in their victims' blood? I know what you're thinking. Didn't I call the cops? Yes, I did. Don't worry. They have been taken away. The horrific scene quarantined off. I was able to get some info from what was going on behind closed doors. Apparently, human limbs were hidden throughout the residence, Normal, everyday objects were remodeled with human skin and extremities. The children even had dolls with real bloody human hair and human ears glued onto them. The fridge was stocked with meals made from body parts, ready to serve. The worst thing of all, the victims were all mostly related to these people. They killed family and friends, consumed them, and bathed in their blood. What kind of evil went on here? Was there some sort of dark religious motive? I'm not sure if I'll ever know. I never got any backstory on what exactly was going on in that house, nor did I do any extra research. I didn't really want to know too much, not while I was actually still getting good sleep at night. New neighbors are moving into the house today. Their U-Haul pulled up moments ago. A young couple stepped out with their 2 young children, a son and a daughter. I wonder if they know the story behind their new home. Do you think they still would have bought the place, knowing there were dismembered bodies throughout the residence? What if these new neighbors have the same taste in home decor, or the same affinity for night swimming?